I'm at 3Gen Organics. I'm standing knee deep in a soy field, and I'm here with Brett Israel. Brett, what can you tell me about this patch in particular?
Well, hey, Nick, great to have you here today.
Thank you.
Soybeans are a very important crop for us. They serve as a great feed source for our pigs. So this particular field of soybeans is one of our Living Lab Canada projects. It's a field of soybeans that we're working with the federal government researching how we can better produce soybeans on our farm.
What does that entail? What does that mean?
Well, it's an opportunity to be able to get some of the top federal researchers from across Canada onto your farm. Seeing how we farm today affects the environment tomorrow. We're learning that, hey, we can grow higher quality soybeans, which ultimately means better quality feed for our pigs. We're seeing broadly that a lot of this modern soybean genetics are being bred down in protein. It's kind of like a trade-off effect, right? You can have higher crude yield or higher crude protein, but achieving high yield and high protein at the same time, it's pretty hard to get to. The beans that we're growing in the Ontario Living Lab project are seeing crude protein levels that are 42 to 44%, where a lot of the more modern conventional genetics are somewhere between 28 to 30%. So that higher concentration of protein ultimately means better quality feed for our pigs and better tasting pork at the end of the day.
What types of things then are you doing differently here on the ground in this field that might make sense to a layman like me?
For sure. So, one of the things we're trying to focus on is how can we keep the ground covered for more of the year? How do we get more diversity in our cropping system? And this particular field is utilizing cereal rye as a key portion of that whole system. The grain rye, when it's grown, it can actually provide some pretty impressive weed control aspects. This is a solid seeded field of soybeans, and there was no herbicides used on them. We grew the rye in the fall preceding this crop, and when the rye breaks down, it actually releases like a natural herbicide. When it gets stressed, if you cut that rye, it suppresses the germination of weeds.
So cool.
Pretty cool. So yeah, this is a great tool in the toolbox of farmers, and as an organic producer, we have very limited options, but even conventional guys can utilize rye. Working with Living Labs, working with a nutritionist, we can build out a better feed program and a better soil health program at the same time.
Well, Brett, it was a true education hanging out here and chatting soy with you. I truly appreciate what you're doing here and all the different levels that you're improving the way the world farms. And you have a true passion for it, and it comes through in the way you communicate, and I feel better for having experienced it with you. So thank you so much for your time. It looks like you have an amazing crop, and I'm sure the pigs are going to love it.
Hopefully.
Right on.
Thanks, Nick.